This is Seymour Rocks reporting from down under. I've got Pam here to bounce off, but I just want to talk briefly, partially because my article seems to have been sort of largely ignored, and I'm pretty upset and angry about it. So I want to get the message out, and I realise that some people relate better to short videos, not long ones, rather than reading articles. So here we are. So this is Cam's, as of today, going into their forecast period. And with their new scale, which they've introduced in the last few days, sort of secretly, really, without telling anybody. I haven't seen any announcements about it. So it makes it look quite normal, doesn't it, Pam?
Certainly doesn't give great cause for alarm.
No, when you see green, that sort of represents sort of cool to average. But if you look at the scale, which we might do a little bit later, you see that that is not the case at all. So I just want to compare that with how things looked on their own website leading up to when they made the changes last weekend.
Mm-hmm. So that's the earlier one we're looking at.
Yeah, so this is the 6th of December, and it's CAMS, it's actual data, and then at a certain stage they go into a forecast period.
To be honest with you, if I just saw that for the first time, I'd honestly be thinking the game's over. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
over.
right, and you'd probably be right. So, you know, these values are very high. Some of them are very, very high, and we don't even know kind of, you know, perhaps by comparing with other sets of data, we could arguably, but according to their own stuff, you see the highest level there is 75,600 parts per billion. So you wouldn't really know. So anyway, we'll leave that. And I just want to go to my article, which I tried to get people to, or the experts at least, to have a look at it without any success. So, oops. Here we are. This is the article. Methane levels have increased since the methane spike in late May and have not gone down since. Well, that's the video that we've just been looking at, yeah. And I have a theory of my own that it was clear that Paul Beckwith in his video had never seen my article before. He was going to go into it, and then he saw this. And after that, there was no way that he was going to discuss this article, and he just kind of waved a wand over it and went away onto something else.
And what you have on the front of that video is there was a 3,000
yes, that's right,
parts per billion spike in methane in May.
Yeah, so Guy pointed that out, and then Margot went and searched, and what she found was this. So there's no change in the scale or anything. This is the global view of methane on the I've got to go down to here. The 20th of May 2018, prior to 3,000 parts per billion spike. So you can see the whole of the Arctic, much of the world is in green. In the southern hemisphere is in blue. Now that's a different scale from now. So,
so what does it mean that when I look at that map, my immediate thought is, oh, there's no methane down here. Thank God I live in the southern hemisphere.
Well, no,
that doesn't mean that.
No.
So what does that mean?
I'd have to actually go to the thing itself and show you on this on the scale, but it means that probably well, certainly now it shows that methane emissions in the southern hemisphere are about at the global average,
Gosh.
whereas the ones up here, the green and the red and everything, are above average.
And is it the case that there is a lot more research, a lot more is known about what's happening in the Arctic and the northern hemisphere than in the southern?
Oh no! These are just raw satellite.
Right.
So data.
Okay.
So that was on the 20th of May, and then on the 26th of May, no changes. That's what it looks like. And what's really alarming is that all of this is in red, whereas a few days ago it was all in green
and yellow.
Yes, and yellow. And CAMS, as far as we know, have done nothing to change their anything in that period. They have since. So in the article I go through and I make comparisons, like this was in July, it was still, it must have settled down a little bit, but still a lot more methane. And then that was October. And then by the time you get to November, you get it looks like this. I've done a video there, and by December, that's how it looks like. So it can be a little bit misleading because of their different scales.
Yeah.
So, for instance, here, look, the scale when Margot did her first measurements,
yes,
was this one, and then sometime, I don't know when they did this. It was just a few months ago. They changed the scale, and what they do is that they slide the scale along, and they provide some more differentiation
yes,
at the lower levels.
yeah.
But then the color coding, and this is a website, it's not based on, you can't see any absolute data on here. All you can see is the colors. So the colors mean a lot. So, if you're being hoodwinked into thinking that things that are blue are low levels, well then, you would be wrong. And so they've provided more differentiation down here, and then up here with the upper values, for some reason they keep on changing this upper value, 2,320. Then it jumped up to 75,600. Apparently, they said to someone, "Oh, that was a typo," and now they've gone down to 10,000. So when you've got these high readings, and there are less of them because they've done the greater differentiation, you wouldn't know how high those levels are. You have to go elsewhere.
And it's a little bit hard to swallow, honestly, that you would make a typo with this sort of data.
Well, exactly.
So on prior to December the 11th, it's showing up at the upper range of that scale as 75,600 parts per billion, and in the amended and altered scale,
10,000.
On the 11th of December, it's dropped to 10,000.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to me as if that is just a typo, because all of the values are changed as you look along that scale, and as you say, it's not at all clear, and there seems to be no accompanying explanation.
No, well, there's no accompanying explanation. There's no explanation of what they've changed and why they've changed. They didn't reply to Margot's ticket.
Just a quick question, Robin. Who would the primary audience be for this data?
I've got no idea. I mean, it's a public website, so anyone who's interested, from scientists to citizen scientists.
Right.
But what I kind of think, this smacks of a kind of a decision made in the committee. Probably, brought together quite quickly, and they've just sort of made these. They've just agreed on these decisions, and it's all, to pull the wool over people's eyes,
So-
and we've seen that in our own thing. We've seen that in the New Zealand Public Service, have we
So-
not?
Yeah, but just to go back a step here,
Yeah.
just to get the order of things. So there was the prior to December the 11th, the data was showing at the high end methane as much as 75,000 parts per million.
Yes.
Off the scale, in other words.
Yes.
And then Margot sent a written question into CAMS.
Yes.
And got a sort of an interim reply, but then without anything else coming back, a day or two later, the maps appear with a markedly different scale and an upper reading
Yes.
of methane parts per billion has suddenly dropped from 75,000 to 10,000. Is that right?
Yeah. And
So,
no explanation
No
for
explanation. And how serious for the planet would it be if we knew that we had methane at 10,000 parts per billion?
Oh my God! I think we could conclude that the game was up. But,
Really?
But I don't believe for a moment that it has reached that.
Right.
What I feel as though they should have done, if they wanted to differentiate, they should have differentiated more at the upper end if they wanted to change things around and have an upper limit for this dark brown and perhaps a black or any colour that they choose, which represents the infinity. So for this dark brown, there has to be some sort of differentiation, and there's still no differentiation.
And Robin, has there been an update following the December the 11th map that went up?
Well, the one that I showed you at the beginning, yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that appears to show. I mean, I haven't looked in great detail. That things have gone down, and we know that methane. I mean, it
spikes.
It spikes. It changes very, very quickly. But we've been watching this over months, and it hasn't really. There's a little bit of noise. It goes up and down, but essentially it's on the up and up.
Hangs around for a long time, though.
Oh, well, that's in the upper atmosphere.
In the upper atmosphere.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm not even going to look at that. That's what most people.
Reassured by?
No. It's what most people quote, and what that to me has a different meaning when you
like
look.
25 years or something in the upper atmosphere.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I heard that.
Yes.
So this is actually talking about what's in our atmosphere, the atmosphere that's keeping the planet ticking over.
So I'm not going to go any further in my comments to say that I know that methane has gone up much more than than anyone is suggesting, and it's not going down. And there are things that I just cannot explain, and I'm not even going to try and explain.
All I can say is, thanks to Margot and and yourself and others who are actually attempting to bring this out to the wider public. For those of us working in conservation or whatever.
Yeah, well, Margot really
it does matter
as a citizen science, and
yes.
What I see from this, which is hugely upsetting, coming from the people that it is, rather than the establishment, is butt off. This is our job. Don't you do this?
Yeah.
And that's shown by the fact that they haven't even kind of acknowledged what she and I have done, and continue to ignore it. And they're not trying to come up with the counter evidence. They're not nothing. So anyway, I'll leave it with that. But I'm pretty angry, as you can tell. But anyway, that's probably enough for now. Thank you very much.